25 minutes before 11 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. The first storm of the season is out there, and it doesn't take a hurricane or a tropical storm to knock a tree down. But, of course, when we see these storms, we keep a close eye on them so we can give you an update. Right now, by the way, this storm, which hasn't even been named yet, but if it is named, it'll be called Arthur if it reaches 39 miles per hour.
Yes.
We're expecting it tomorrow. Tomorrow it'll be closest to us, and then it'll be heading its way up the coast.
Going
Joe,
straight up the East Coast there, it looks like.
that's what it looks like. Yeah, Joe Reichel is here. And good morning, Joe. How you doing?
Good morning. I'm doing good.
So we are, of course, anytime there's a storm. You know what's weird about the storms knocking down trees is that it could be a slight one. It could be just a little breeze. You just never know.
Last year there were no, we had a few named storms, but nothing that really affected us in our area. And we had, I believe it was 9 or 10 jobs
that right?
we got last summer that were these pop-up storms that we have in the evenings. Strong, a lot of rain and wind, and trees would fall down on homes. And we had several on pool cages and on houses. So, yeah.
And
so that was, that's going right along with what you were saying. We don't need a named storm.
Right.
We don't even really need a tropical depression. We just need one of these, strong, severe weather storms that we get in the evenings.
And in fact, and I'm not a meteorologist, but this is what they're saying, that this actually might make the weather here really nice for the 4th of July. Not necessarily so true for the folks up in, where would that be, South Carolina by the 4th or wherever? But it sucks out the air or whatever and
pulls it all around.
So our daily dose of rain might take a break if we're lucky.
I don't know. I like the rain.
I do too, but when you're looking...
we need more of it.
But when fireworks are in your schedule, you gotta...
But then again, if it was dry and you had fireworks...
You couldn't have fireworks.
Right. I remember a few years back they didn't allow fireworks. They had a fireworks ban.
There's been
because of the severe the drought or the dry weather.
And isn't the weather crazy? There's a story this morning about this terrible flooding out in the Midwest.
Yeah.
Is that where it is, Midwest?
Mm-hmm.
2 boys flushed down the drain. Did you see that?
I did not.
Yeah. One was found in the lake about a mile away.
Like a storm drain?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, 2 teenagers. So they were throwing a Frisbee, and 2 of them went down the drain, and they found one alive and injured, but he was okay. The other one they haven't found yet, and they're hoping he's down there somewhere in the sewer system.
Wow. That would be scary.
That's terrible. Yeah.
It's kind of dark down there.
So much water.
It's pretty dark.
I guess it's totally dark.
Yeah.
Do you know what I did when I was a kid?
Not like the movies.
I crawled through a sewer pipe when I was a kid under the highway.
Uh-huh.
And like an idiot, just so stupid. And I thought I heard water coming, and I was panicking. I was like, oh, my God, you can't move anywhere. You're shoulder to shoulder with this concrete wall.
Okay.
I was stupid, young, 14,
Well, it was
13
just under the
maybe.
road, right? Did it come out the other side?
Yeah.
So you could see.
Yeah.
You could see daylight.
Well, no. We assume it did. Me and my friend.
You didn't go all the way through.
No, because I thought we thought we heard water.
So you backed up.
We backed out. Yeah.
How far in did you go?
Pretty far. We were under traffic. The traffic was going over us. It was one of those big roads. It was in New York. It was like,
okay,
I guess like an interstate, I guess.
Probably. Neat. I've never done that.
No, don't do it. Don't do it. I couldn't do it now. I'm too big now.
Well, they have big pipes. Especially in New York.
Big pipes in New York, yeah.
Yeah. Maybe Texas.
Yeah.
Everything's bigger in Texas.
Not everything. Not the Jaguars billboard.
The Jaguars billboard, I heard.
Did you hear that story?
I heard you were talking about it.
Oh, did you?
I heard you talking about it. Yeah, I was listening this
it's like
morning.
a movie screen, it looks like. So, yeah, so lots of people doing projects right now. I see them happening. People hammering things.
Yeah, we've got a lot of things happening. Several new construction or remodels happening
What are you working on Facebook? What is that?
Which one?
The one you showed this morning. Or was it yesterday?
There's 2 of them I think I posted this morning. One is replacing the floor system in an existing house. That's the future home of Angie and Clint Lewis.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's the residential side of it. It was, just that's an old building. It's in the historical section of Ocala, so it was not, just age and the little beasts, termites, had taken a toll to part of it. So
that's just a scary bug. It can ruin your house.
It really is, and I don't really know much about them, other than you need to have your home taken care of. So, if not, they're going to come in and take care of it for you.
What do you call the negative $1 million? Like if something was worth $1 million, do you call it the $1 million bottle, or the $1 million? If you had a bug that was worth $1 million, the $1 million bug. This is the anti-$1 million bug. It can ruin $1 million worth of...
In a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Those and love bugs, I think, are probably the worst, too.
Yeah, but they don't damage anything, do they?
Well, the paint on your car.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I heard you had some mustaches on your car.
Yes. We ended up with some mustaches. I posted those on Facebook. Did you see them?
Yeah.
That was kind of funny. Especially when Tito... Tito Comas, he shaved.
He's gone. His mustache is gone. I heard. Yeah.
And Buddy posted that finally found it. It was on my car.
Oh, okay. I see. The phone number right now, if you want to call Joe and ask, maybe you're working on a do-it-yourself project and you're kind of saying, "Wow, what do I do now?" Or maybe you want to be prepared. What tools will you need in advance for something?
You're going to share the phone number before I butt in.
Yeah, the number is...
I was getting ready to go.
622-9622.
The Climate Control Source Hotline.
Thank you. Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
And that's the thing, too, speaking of the source, you guys are the official for severe weather and stuff, right?
We are. We're the Emergency
Alert Station.
Yeah. We've been that since forever.
And that being the case, if there is bad weather, this is the place that you want to tune in to listen, and that way, you would be prepared or know what to do, because as you guys get the information, it's going right out on the air, right?
Yeah, we would take it. Yeah, we've had ourselves stationed here at the station back in the Cascades. The hurricanes of 2004, we rode them out like the Weather Channel did.
Yeah.
We were on the air every 15 minutes in the middle of the night, giving updates on those things.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. I mean, we've, a lot of times we talk about, these storms and what to do. And, you really have to have a plan. Whether it is to stay where you're at or to leave or to go to a shelter, you need to be prepared for this. And, fortunately, we don't have to worry. It doesn't seem like for this storm coming through.
This one, yeah.
This one. But, you don't know about the next one, and you definitely want to be, prepared for them in the event that they do happen. So, not only do you want to know where to listen to get information, but you want to know, make sure you know where to go and what to do.
Do you know what seems to be true? And maybe you know this for a fact. It seems that the eastern edge of a hurricane is more dangerous than the western edge.
Yes.
Is that true?
It is true.
I'm only guessing it because when there's a hurricane going up the Gulf Coast, it seems like we get battered, even if it's not really here.
Well, that's the way the weather pattern and the way the tornado or the hurricane spins, you're getting the front edge of it.
Are they always
on
clockwise?
The eastern side?
They always go clockwise?
I think unless you're on the other side of the hemisphere, right?
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
I think so. Just like your toilet.
Yeah, but I asked this once before.
Really?
When we had a guy on the phone.
Did we talk? We didn't talk about it.
Not you and I, but
right.
I had a guy on the phone from Australia. And we were talking about something totally different. And at the end of the interview, I said, "Do you mind if I squeeze in a really absurd question? If you flush the toilet, which way does it go?" And he went and flushed it. And he told me, and then I said, "Well, I'm not sure how ours goes, so I'll have to tell you later." And I went in and flushed it afterwards, and it was the same way. But I can't remember which way it goes.
Your toilet will flush going counterclockwise.
Always?
Always. Unless it's designed to flush the other way.
Oh, it's a design thing.
Sure.
Oh, it's got nothing to do with the world? With the earth?
I don't know. I don't know about toilets, but I do know. Well, I think it might be. I mean, even your tub drains that way. Doesn't it?
I don't know.
Counterclockwise?
I need to pay attention, I guess.
I believe so.
So when you put in a bathroom floor,
Okay.
and you have to put in all of the holes for all of the plumbing,
Right.
do you actually drill a hole? I mean, how do you put a hole for a toilet or a hole for the bathtub or any of that stuff?
Well, I mean, it's just a matter
Is that a
of...
dumb question? I don't...
Well, I mean, it depends how big a hole you need and what you're cutting through. You could use a circular saw and just cut a square section out for the tub drain. That would be just a square, basically. If you're doing a toilet, you'd want to cut the circle, the size of the pipe so that the flange, just the pipe, so that the flange could sit on wood.
Right.
So, I mean, that you'd use a jigsaw, or they do have hole saws that are that big. Most plumbers, they would have that saw, that hole saw, so they just drill it out.
Just drill it out, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And while we're talking, the phone rang, so let's take that call. Good morning. Thank you for waiting for us. You're on the air with Joe.
Yeah, good morning, Joe and Larry.
Hey.
Good morning.
See, we've got a good friend that's he's going to move to Florida here, and he's been looking at properties, and he's got one he kind of picked out for this next door retention pond. So he calls me the other day, and he said, "What can I pick?" We don't have them up in Wisconsin to speak of. And he says, "Is there anything to be aware of or careful about eventually building a whole next door, buying one next door retention pond?" And I thought, well, I'm going to call Joe on the radio. Maybe he can kind of clue us in on a few things. I told him, I said, other than in the rainy season, once in a while you might have lakefront property, but it didn't get to last that long.
No, that would really be the only problem. And anytime your engineers come in, they design where the retention ponds or the retention areas go. They take into account the floodplain. They take into account the storms, which way the terrain goes, and they're able to best figure that. And I would not have any problem building near a retention area at all. In fact, me personally would probably do it, just because you wouldn't have neighbors directly next to you.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it could be a very nice property, depending on the location, of course.
Wouldn't there be a possibility of maybe a sinkhole situation because of the fact that you always have water, or most of the times you have water there, and that ground is always in a different way from the ground around it?
Really, that depends on what the earth looks like below it. I mean, is there a possibility for sinkholes? Yes. Is there a possibility for sinkholes anywhere? Yes. And that really depends on a lot of things, and I don't really think that it would make any difference if it was because of a retention area or not.
Yeah. Would it make any sense to go through the expense of having the retention pond, having somebody come out and testing it, go drilling down to see exactly what's going on?
Well, I mean, that makes sense all the time before building a home. The only problem with that is it is costly, and a lot of times people don't really want to, have the means to do that. But most of the time, you're as long as you're building a home and doing it properly, as far as getting all the compaction and making sure that you had one thing to make sure you have done is a survey so that your home is not, off of your property, or you make sure your property is where your property says it's supposed to be. But as far as the, doing the testing to check, I mean, I know people that have done that. I know people that have built their home extra in order to avoid having sinkhole problems, and because of where they built, they still had some settling issues. So, I mean, it really depends. I mean, if you're building it properly and using all of the precautions that you can, doing everything that you can in order to make it the best possible. You're going to have a good home typically, and you wouldn't have to worry about it.
Yeah. I was just thinking, just sitting here, my wife's an insurance agent. I was wondering, I'll ask when she comes home, if the insurance is either more or less when you build or buy next to a sinkhole. Not a sinkhole, but I mean a water retention pond.
I don't believe it is. I don't believe that has a factor, but I don't know. You definitely, I mean, she'd be able to answer that for sure.
Yeah, she'll know, yeah. Okay, real quick before I go, I was down in Brazil a few years back, and the water does go clockwise down there on your side of the equator.
That's how it's designed.
When you go down there, the first thing I want you to do is either flush the toilet or let some water out in the sink. I want to know which way it goes, but it goes clockwise.
But isn't that how it's designed to do?
I don't know.
Well, not when you put the water in the sink and let it go.
Okay.
Okay, we'll talk to you later, guys.
Thanks for calling.
You think we would have solved this one, right? It's kind of like, is it Belgian waffles or Belgium waffles?
I believe it's Belgian.
Belgian.
Yeah, there's no M in Belgian.
And they don't have them in Belgium, apparently.
Not in Belgium. So...
Are you watching the soccer game today? Are you planning on?
I might get to see a little
bit. Are you
bit
into that at all?
I'm into good sporting events.
This seems like one of them.
This seems like one of them. When is it? It's 2 o'clock this afternoon. 4 o'clock.
Our time, yeah.
Possibly. So, and this is totally going back to the show, but I wanted to, one thing I wanted to talk about today is making sure that if disaster happens, a homeowner, they want to do all that they can in order to protect their property from future damage. So if a tree does fall on your house and it's raining, you don't have to wait till your insurance adjuster comes out to take a look at it to get work done. You can start to clean up. You can get the debris out. You can hire people to do it, and you don't necessarily have to do it yourself. But one thing that you will want to do or have someone do for you is take lots of pictures, and don't throw anything out. So if you're taking lots of pictures of the problem, you're going through and doing everything you can to keep further damage from happening, your insurance is going to take care of you. Your insurance company, your agent, your adjuster, they're all going to take care of you. You don't have to wait to do this. So just don't dispose of anything. You can pile it all up and let it sit until you get a dumpster out there or someone gets a dumpster for you. But, start the cleanup so that further damage doesn't happen, or try to.
Do you have an update on that house that was horribly damaged by a tree? And remember, we talked about this like more than a year ago, I think.
I do not know.
Was it 7th?
Yeah, on 7th. I haven't driven down that way lately.
Wow.
But that was. I believe that was last February.
They don't get much worse than that.
No.
That was pretty.
That was a huge tree that fell over on that. It was as big as you and between you and I here. Fell directly across it, and the homeowners were living out of town, and they were had a lease or a property management company taking care of it here.
And you have a phone call. Good morning. You're on the air with Joe Reichel.
Hi, Joe, and hi, Larry. This is June. Just reference to that house. That house is finally gone, and it's just a lot. The lot's now for sale.
Oh, wow. Thank you for the update.
Wow. It happened almost overnight. All of a sudden, the trucks are out there, and boom, it was gone. So it took about a year and a half, though, to get it done.
Yeah, it really, it wouldn't have taken much to take that house down for sure. And a company like that come in and clean it up. It doesn't take much at all.
And now there's a nice lot for sale if somebody wants it. Okay, you guys have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thank
you for the update.
So would you, if you had been called to fix that house, would you have done the same thing, just tear it down and build a new one? Or could that have been fixed?
That house could have been fixed.
Oh, really?
When it happened, yes. The situation with it, how it sat for so long, it still could have been fixed. A lot would have had to come down and probably been removed before doing anything to repair, just because it had been open to the elements for so long, and the amount of damage there.
So the truss, is it called the truss?
The trusses are the members that form your roof.
And normally, if you're at a construction site, those are built off-site somewhere. And then
If you have trusses, yes.
They're delivered, right?
If you have, you could have rafters, which that's something that, a builder would make right on site.
Oh, okay.
Basically, cutting the wood to form the roof. That would be rafters.
So if the house was built with trusses and they were damaged, would you have to actually replace the trusses, or could you rebuild the damaged part?
It depends how bad it's damaged, and also depends what the structural engineer would say.
So there's a lot of people involved.
Yes.
In a major.
A house like that, and I went and I don't know if I still have pictures of it or not, but I went and looked at that house right after it happened, and this is like any other disaster that we go to. We take lots of pictures. That house, when the tree hit it, it broke the block wall, and
wow.
Basically it cracked the block wall vertically. So anywhere there was damage like that, down the side, the opposite, along the long side of where the house hit, it broke the wall. So that would all need to be cut out and repaired, tied back together and repaired right. The house that we're talking about there on 7th, most of the roof would have had to come off.
It really was. It was unbelievable.
Just because those trusses were damaged to the point that they'd have too many broken webs. So the roof would have come off. The walls, parts of the walls, and maybe some of the walls would have come down, and then started basically building it back from there. The way that happened and how long the floor or the roof was exposed with the tree sitting on it, all of the flooring would have been damaged inside.
Right.
So you would have had
right.
A lot of to take care of all of that. So that's what I was saying. If a disaster happens, start working immediately. Get someone out there, get the tree off the house, get the damaged materials taken out, start the dry out process if it is raining. That way, all of your belongings, all of the house is not damaged. You're still going to have to do a lot of work. Even if the house like that, if it was start on immediately, you still would have had a lot of work to do.
Right, yeah.
Probably a lot of flooring would have had to be replaced anyway, just because when you take the roof off of a house, you've got a lot of stuff that has to go, a lot of work that needs done, and the floors would have been damaged anyway. So, it really depends, but with that house especially, there was a lot of work that would have needed done just because of the way that tree hit. It was a direct hit.
Well, and the main message of your appearance is always that if damage happens, you're there and you'll help put it back to the way it should be. This Friday, people will be setting off fireworks. Let's hope nobody burns their house down.
We're hoping for no fires.
No fires.
And no injuries.
And
because a lot of people get injured
I know.
With fireworks.
I know, it's crazy. But anyway, we always have fun on your show, but this, of course, is the important message. Hey, Brian, he's coming over today. We're giving away 50 sandwiches today. Look at that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I just got some chicken nuggets.
Did you?
Or the chicken fingers, yeah.
What's your phone number?
My phone number, my direct line is 352-817-6574. Or you can reach me on my email. That's joe@damageflorida, all spelled out, damageflorida.com.
All right. Thank you, Joe. Thank you for what you do.
Thank you, Larry.
You help
Good
us
to be here
understand
today.
Something that's a mystery to me anyway. All right, we'll be right back.
Damage control, damage control, damage control, damage control.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lillian Wu. A day after the Supreme Court's Hobby Lobby decision indicates